Let her go.
I don't think so. No. While she remains imprisoned within this field, her powers increase my own. And when the moon reaches its zenith, the great eye will open, and all the powers of Grayskull will be bestowed upon me. Your wondrous sorceress will die.
You dare threaten her life?
I dare anything! I am Skeletor! Throw down your weapons, and pledge yourself to me, or you will join her.
It's not her you want, it's me.
The Plotaholics podcast is not meant to make light of those with an actual serious addiction. If you have an actual serious addiction, the Plotaholics podcast should not be used as a replacement for treatment. If you are not in a treatment program for substance abuse, and you are somehow still offended, then fuck you too. Sincerely, your hosts.
Take a trip with us to Nilbog. Just promise not to drink the goo.
Oh my God!
If you get sucked into the Matrix, we will sing the phone for you.
Do you believe in fate?
But every movie has a plot hole, and every hole gets filled somehow with whiskey, wine, or blue milk. Just don't cut me off right now. We're the Plotaholics, a breakfast club of two. We're the Plotaholics, ripping plots apart for you.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
All right, and welcome to another episode of the Plotaholics podcast. Yeah, I'm Shane Wilson, and I'm a Plotaholic.
Hi, Shane.
Hi.
I'm Brian Tan, and I'm a Plotaholic.
I am 0 days sober because last night I watched the 1987 classic, Masters of the Universe, starring Dolph Lundgren.
See, I am also 0 days sober because I watched 1987's Masters of the Universe, starring Dolph Lundgren and the amazing Frank Langella and a young Courtney Cox, pre-Friends fame.
Yes, absolutely. So let's see. Masters of the Universe. On the planet Eternia, at the center of the universe, Skeletor's army seizes Castle Grayskull, scatters the remaining Eternian defenders, and captures the sorceress of Grayskull, planning to add her power to his own by the next moonrise. Skeletor's arch enemy, the warrior He-Man, veteran soldier Man-at-Arms, and his daughter Teela rescue Gwildor from Skeletor's forces. Gwildor, a Thenorian locksmith, reveals that Skeletor has acquired his invention, a cosmic key that can open a portal to anywhere by utilizing sound keys. The device was stolen by Skeletor's second-in-command, Evil Lyn, who maybe wins the award for worst name, allowing Skeletor to breach Castle Grayskull.
Now, we should mention, Shane, before we get really started, this is among the so bad. This comes from the studio Canon Films that brought us a lot of so bad they're good and otherwise films of the 80s.
What are some of those other titles?
Some of those films include the Death Wish sequels, the Chuck Norris action films The Delta Force and Invasion USA, the Ninja Trilogy, Enter the Ninja, Revenge of the Ninja, and Ninja 3, The Domination, that starred Sho Kosugi, that also Ninja 3 also starred, and let me make sure I get her name right, because Lucinda Dickey, famous for Breakin' and Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
And,
So
hold on, dude, there's a couple more.
Oh, yeah.
American Ninja, starring Michael Dudikoff, and the late great. Where's it at? Where's he at? There we are. Come on. The late great Steve James as Jackson, as well as its sequel, American Ninja 2. And then, of course, Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo. The Barbarian, starring the Barbarian twins, Peter and David Paul, that also starred in DC Cab with Mr. T, among others. And Cobra, starring Sylvester Stallone.
that list just made me tired.
Oh, come on. What about Robotech?
Like it's not quite as bad as Tromo films, but
oh man,
it's not a great list, or is it the greatest list? I don't know. Something that we could probably debate as we go here. So,
ready for another addition to that? Superman 4: The Quest for Peace.
they should have just subtitled that movie "The Worst One."
Yeah,
like Superman 4,
the worst one. Oh, and Jean-Claude Van Damme's Cyborg.
Yeah, so clearly, Canon Films is sort of the black sheep of the Warner Brothers family.
Canon Films is where you go to, like, when you really want to watch quintessential 80s films that don't care how bad they are.
Yeah, okay, so let's
because they also, and this is my last one, I promise. I promise you. Captain America, starring Matt Salinger, the son of J.D. Salinger, the author of Catcher in the Rye. Matt Salinger also starred as Burke in Revenge of the Nerds.
I really want Canon Films to do like an extended universe with like Dolph Lundgren's He-Man and that Captain America.
Oh my God!
And all of those ninjas.
Did you ever see that Captain America?
I did, but oh God, it's been so long.
The suit is so rubber, it's horrible.
Yeah, it's
you want to know how bad that movie was?
How bad was it?
On a budget of $10 million, it made $10,173 at the box office.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh.
Well, we should dig into our main event.
Yes,
probably.
Let's dig into the main event of the evening.
Masters of the Universe is a property that is like so many other 80s properties. It was essentially created to sell toys. They were
from the Mattel company.
He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Transformers. There were a lot of shows that were coming on TV in the 80s that were really just 30-minute commercials.
That's literally all they were. And I grew up in that time. And that was literally all those cartoons were. And there were some, you had He-Man, you had G.I. Joe, you had the Transformers. You even had other cartoons like Mask, Chuck Norris's Karate Commandos.
Oh, God.
The Thundercats, the Silverhawks, the Tiger Sharks. Oh, my God. It is
let's not throw too much shade because I grew up during this time, too, and I got a lot of enjoyment from He-Man and from Thundercats.
Oh, so did I. I love He-Man. And Thundercats has like the greatest opening for a cartoon ever.
I completely agree.
Every time I hear that music playing, I want my eyes to glow and I want to whoop somebody's ass.
Yeah, it was like Thundercats was the better version of He-Man for some reason.
In a lot of ways, it really was. But you still got like the wholesome message. But I think that they could get away with more with Thundercats, where He-Man, he suffered from the same fate that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze suffered. Mm-hmm. And that was, they have these weapons, but they're not allowed to use them. He-Man has his power sword in the cartoon, but he's never allowed to use it. And he rarely even hits anyone. He throws people.
Yeah.
And uses feats of strength to defeat them by like throwing boulders at them or lifting and throwing their transports.
Yeah, you know, I enjoyed He-Man the cartoon, and I mean it's as high fantasy as I guess you could get for like Saturday morning cartoons.
It's offshoot She-Ra. Absolutely.
Yes. Have you watched the Netflix reboot of She-Ra?
No, I have not. I have been planning on watching it. I need to finish Voltron, actually. That's another one. That was another half an hour commercial. Voltron. Yeah. Voltron was special because it was an anime. Voltron's kind of special. But I digress.
Yeah, so then He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, wildly successful on television.
I had all of the toys. I
did too.
The 5 different versions of He-Man, the 5 different versions of a Skeletor. I had tons of those toys. I even had Ram Man. No one likes Ram Man.
I had that green tiger. What was that?
That's battle. Well, he's Cringer when he's not wearing the armor, and when he has the armor, he's Battle Cat.
Battle Cat
for the toy. I even had the Horde Axe.
Wow.
Now, we had just mentioned, and I do want to point this out before we get too deep into it, with Mattel and how they had a very, very deep focus on He-Man, which in a lot of ways was very Disney-esque. Again, he couldn't use his sword against anybody. So this actually, in a lot of ways, made its way into the film. They had a lot more liberties in the film, and we'll touch on some of those, but unless he was like in combat, he didn't really get to use his, well, I digress because, again, and I've been saying that a lot so far, but there's a lot of times where there's some things that he could and couldn't get away with in the show that they do get more liberties in the film, but it was actually a point of contention that we'll actually get into.
Real quick, do you know, because I am not seeing it right off here, what the, oh man, what was this movie rated when it was released?
It was rated, hold on, let me find it. I believe it is rated PG.
Okay, which is a 1980s PG, which is...
Yeah, let me see. Let me double check here. Let me check out imdb.com just to make sure I'm 100% correct.
Yeah.
Because I like to make sure that I've got it right. So, Masters of the Universe. No thanks, I don't need that right now. I do believe it was rated PG.
Okay. It also made a whopping $17 million worldwide against a $22 million budget.
Yeah.
So not great. Now, so the movie, I think it is safe to say, drifts very far from the source material.
Oh, extremely, extremely far. I was one of the kids, and yeah, it was rated PG. I was correct.
Okay.
I was one of the kids now, to let you know how far back I go. I watched this film on Betamax.
Okay.
And I remember watching this movie, and I'm like, huh?
This is not my Masters of the Universe.
This is not my Masters of the Universe.
Except it is. Like, okay. Part of the frustrating thing about this movie is that it's just close enough to the original that you know that it's supposed to be He-Man.
Yes. It teases you.
Right.
It teases just a little, but I mean, it's like in the cartoon, He-Man had I don't even want to insult anyone's intelligence and say it's an alter ego. How the hell they didn't know Adam was He-Man? I don't know. They're built the same. They got the same crappy haircut. And it's just one has the Donald Trump spray tan and the other one is pale and wears pink.
Well, he wore a lot more clothes than He-Man did.
Yeah, but they still wore the same style of draws.
So yeah, so you're right, and that's one thing that the movie never touches.
No,
is
he's just He-Man.
He's just He-Man all the time. Skeletor, also,
It's not blue.
So I think that Skeletor is the protagonist of this film, but that's
easily. Well, you know what? And we agreed on when we talked about this earlier on today. Frank Langella was amazing. He is the power of this movie.
Yeah, he is easily the MVP of the Masters of the Universe, and he does so much with so little. No one else in this movie is up to where he is when it comes to acting.
I don't even think they're trying.
That's probably fair, but this dude is not doing. He is not Skeletor through makeup. He's wearing a rubber mask.
Yeah,
and like a rubber skull mask. You can even see the holes in the nose.
Yes.
So he can breathe out of it. So the fact that this dude looks so ridiculous as Skeletor and is still able to play a fairly convincing villain, I think is really a testament to his talent.
You can't tell him that he's not like, he's almost like Daniel Day-Lewis. Like if Daniel Day-Lewis played Skeletor, he would be Frank Langella as Skeletor.
Yeah,
because
he really is the saving grace of this movie. Like every line is delivered with conviction that no person in this movie should have ever had.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you even look at Meg Foster, who plays Evil Lynn, your vote for the worst name of all time.
At least the worst name in the movie.
Yeah.
In a movie with something called Gwildor, which as I was getting drunker and drunker last night watching this, I started calling him so many weird things like Griffleflop and just a lot of weird things coming out of my mouth when I was trying to talk about Gwildor.
Did you ever call him Nutsack?
No, it always started with a G somehow. It was like Grifflepuff, but that's like a Harry Potter thing. But
that's Hufflepuff.
But like for those of you who don't know, Gwildor is this weird little Yoda creature.
Well, actually, he was supposed to be Orko, but they couldn't do the special effects, so they made a new character of Gwildor.
Yeah, and he's a short little creature with pointy ears and wrinkly skin and gill flaps.
Yes, played by the late great Billy Barty.
Yeah, and he dresses a little bit like, oh man, what's his name?
I want to say Dr. Frankenfurter meets The Hobbit.
I was absolutely going to say The Hobbit.
Just minus the Dr. Frankenfurter part.
Yeah. I mean, I think the dude just looks kind of like a wrinkly Hobbit, but
yeah.
But regardless, like Gwildor's character is this engineer. He makes this key, and Brian, everything is music, right? That's what the movie. That's what this movie tells us.
Yes, it does. It tells us now. What's kind of funny is that as they're setting the scene, you're getting the scene set for you in sort of this dystopian world. Battle is going on everywhere, and He-Man is sort of walking along in this desert area. And I am going somewhere with this because you mentioned Gwildor and him being a locksmith type.
Yeah.
He-Man sees this group of Skeletor's forces dragging Gwildor in a net. He-Man fights them off, saves Gwildor, and then runs into his companions, Teela, who is played by, hold on, let me get her name. And I already know her name, but I'm just making sure that I'm getting it right. Chelsea Field.
Yeah.
Now, you'll know Chelsea Field. She's married to the great Scott Bakula.
Yeah, and she looks exactly like Robin from How I Met Your Mother.
She really does. And honestly, in a lot of ways, I don't think she's aged, because I think she still looks the same.
Yeah.
You'll remember Chelsea Field. Her first film role was the stewardess in Commando, the one that Arnold Schwarzenegger tells not to wake his friend because he's dead tired.
Uh-huh.
She was also in Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man. She played Virginia Slim. She was also in 1991's The Last Boy Scout as Bruce Willis's wife. And she also went on to be in, she did guest spots on 30 something, HBO's Dream On. So she's been in a lot of stuff. Tales from the Crypt on HBO, so on and so forth. She's also, from 2017 to this year, she was on NCIS New Orleans as Rita Devereaux. So Chelsea Field has had a pretty illustrious career. And her father, Jon Cypher, who's an amazing actor in and of himself, his list of credits are very extensive, plays Man-at-Arms. And he is Teela's father, of course. And I mean, getting into Jon Cypher, Trapper John M.D., Law and Order, Knots Landing, Dallas, Greatest American Hero. The man has a resume. He was even in RoboCop, for God's sake. So the man has a resume.
Well, and like we've said, you also have, Dolph Lundgren has a resume.
Yeah, but he didn't have a resume at that time.
Right.
He was just Ivan Drago.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And Courtney Cox is really, I think, the story here, because she's able to survive this movie and put together a resume.
Yes. Good, and good for her.
Yeah.
Because,
and honestly, if there's anybody in this movie that challenges Frank Langella for MVP, I think it's Courtney Cox.
Well, I mean, I'll give you that, but we have to give a shout out to James Tolkien, aka Mr. Strickland from the Back to the Future films, because he is hilarious when he's on. He plays the cop that you hate in
That's
movies.
a fair point. Yeah, he is really good.
He's basically playing Mr. Strickland as a cop.
Yeah.
I was waiting for him to call everyone slackers all throughout this movie.
Well, and we will absolutely get to his appearance a little bit later, but how many times did he cock that gun before he shot it?
Oh my God, too many to count. It's like, dude, if you keep cocking the gun, are you trying to magically put bullets into your gun? Are you a wizard, Harry?
All right, well, we're 20 minutes in, and I don't know that we've actually even set this thing up yet.
No, we did. Well, we kind of did, but I think we can afford to do it again.
Yeah. So in short,
Eternia's shambles.
Yeah, Eternia is in shambles. The movie opens with this monologue that sort of gives us the status quo, and
it doesn't look like it fits. It doesn't fit, but go ahead.
Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll listen to that opening monologue. This is how the movie starts. There's no opening title screen. Well, there's a Canon Films title card, but the movie proper opens with a shot of Castle Grayskull and with this monologue.
At the center of the universe, at the border between the light and the dark, stands Castle Grayskull. For countless ages, the sorceress of Grayskull has kept this universe in harmony. But the armies of darkness do not rest, and the capture of Grayskull is evermost in their minds. For to those that control Grayskull will come the power to be supreme, the power to be almighty, the power to be masters of the universe.
All right, and so the stage is set for the battle, right?
Can I just say that the text, while the music is playing, you can tell, now we both watched this on YouTube. It's actually in the free movie section of YouTube.
Yeah, as long as you don't mind commercials.
Yeah, well, I don't have commercials because I still have the YouTube Red because I watch Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
But
speaking of 80s properties that have aged well.
Oh, seriously. Everyone in that show has aged well. I mean, William Zabka and Ralph Macchio still look like they're just now hitting 40.
Yeah.
But
Ralph Macchio is still got it together.
Oh, absolutely. But no, so and the opening text, it just doesn't even look right. It really doesn't.
It's like the opening text for Rainbow Bright.
It really does. It really, really does. And so that lets you know right there. We're in for a rough ride.
Yeah. So and really this what that opening monologue tells us is that Castle Grayskull essentially is whoever controls Castle Grayskull controls Eternia.
Yes.
And so Skeletor is essentially in control of it, right? I mean, he just wants to defeat He-Man because He-Man is the only one in the universe that can stop him, essentially.
He's very single-minded on his desire to kill He-Man.
Yeah, and not only defeat He-Man, but kill him, because there's several moments later, which we'll get to, where he could have just, like, abandoned this mission to kill He-Man, and he would have won.
Exactly. But nah, it was, no, nothing else matters. I have to kill He-Man. It's like, well, Ahab just has to get his will.
Right, exactly. So we have this chick that wears a lot of white. She's the sorceress, is that right? Yeah. I'm telling you, man, I was drunk most of the time I watched this thing. So
yeah, the sorceress of Grayskull.
Yeah, so the sorceress of Grayskull, she, I guess, was sort of like the way that they sold this kind of reminded me of the old wizard in Shazam.
Yeah. Well, in the show, she's the one who opens up mysterious secrets to Prince Adam for him to become He-Man. She gives him the magic sword, and she is also in the cartoon the mother of Teela. So her and Man-at-Arms have a history, and Teela is her daughter.
Got it.
But of course, that's absolutely ignored in this film.
Yeah, none of that. I was thinking, well, about a lot of things. And one of the things that I kept coming back to while I was watching this movie, especially early on, was the superfluous bullshit that 80s hero movies spent time on instead of character building.
You mean just like the flat out, oh, I'm He-Man, I'm showing up, look at me. Even though I have an iron sword, I can deflect blasters as if it's a lightsaber. Right. Back at you.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I kept saying the whole time, I was like, this is what happens when you eat a whole bunch of food and then fall asleep watching Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, because, pretty much.
Yeah, because they're like Skeletor's troops look like black stormtroopers.
Yep.
Not in the same way that Finn is a black stormtrooper, but like stormtroopers in black armor.
They're basically the foot soldiers from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon.
Right, yeah. And they have laser blasters.
Mm-hmm.
And the laser blasters can blow up cars and kill people with armor on, but He-Man can deflect them with his iron sword.
Oh, absolutely. Not to mention the fact that they have stormtrooper aim when it comes to dealing with He-Man, Teela, Man-at-Arms, and any of our protagonists. It's just, we went to the stormtrooper school of aim.
Yes. And, you know, and like even Skeletor was very sort of Emperor Palpatine-like to me, the way that they showed him on screen. With the hood over the face, the way that he talked, even the vehicles he rode.
Yes, absolutely.
The way like the throne room was filmed and everything, like he was just very like this thing was very clearly 3 years after Return of the Jedi came out.
Yeah, he is Palpatine. They did rip off George Lucas. I just saved you $5.
For sure, just go back and watch Return of the Jedi.
Pretty much.
Because
you even have the little Ewok in Gwildor.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You have Gwildor as your little Ewok moment. You have okay, well, I don't want to get too far. Oh my God, how do you even freaking talk about this movie? So
we're so busy picking it apart piece by piece. We haven't even gotten to the movie, but the movie is so simplistic. It follows every single formula of 80s bad movie.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I wanted to talk about. And so that means I'm going to push forward a little bit here. We are 27 minutes in. It's time we get to the point. And the point is that the key that Gwildor has created essentially is like the quantum suit for this movie because it can take them anywhere in the universe and in time.
Yes.
And
music is the key to the universe. So
Right.
every time he hits these keys, it's playing notes. And then Evil Lynn, played by Meg Foster, who would later go on to play Holly in They Live, who I think they just told her, look, Meg, look fine, look creepy with them eyes, and just scowl.
I really just wish that this movie had been PG-13 so she could have taken that weird lacy thing off and just worn that chest plate.
Absolutely, just like she does in the cartoon.
Yeah.
But and really, it's almost like she's there for the femme fatale,
Yeah.
second in command character. But so basically, Evil Lynn tricks Gwildor into giving her the cosmic key. He has another one that Skeletor didn't know about, and then Skeletor sent his robo-douches to kill Gwildor so that no one else would have a cosmic key. And Teela at one point thinks that they've been betrayed because Skeletor's forces just showed up around Grayskull and decimated the troops. You come to find out Gwildor's key is the reason that Skeletor's troops were able to just show up. And
yeah, because he can kind of track it, right?
Yeah, and well, Skeletor, you find out later that the keys can track each other.
Right.
But Skeletor used the key to get his troops there. And Skeletor has this thing, as a good villain would. He has his most powerful weapon on him at all times.
His evil laugh.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, his everything about him was great.
Yeah.
Everything. So He-Man and Teela, Man-at-Arms, meet Gwildor. They escape from his hut as Skeletor's forces show up. Gwildor opens up a portal to get into the Castle Grayskull. And you find out that the sorceress has been captured. And as long as she is captured, and as you said in the synopsis, Skeletor's ultimate plan is to siphon her powers to add to his own, because Skeletor is supposed to be a powerful magician, and he's also and this is something that they changed from the show, and I'm glad they did. Skeletor is not a coward.
Right.
In this movie. In the show, he is the biggest coward ever. He's sort of like Cobra Commander in the fact that he'll bark orders and run away.
Right.
In
yeah,
this movie,
he's a badass.
He is a badass in this movie, and people legit fear him. In the cartoon, you're like, why does anyone follow this guy?
I'm sorry. Did you ever see this YouTube series? It's in the early days of YouTube called Unemployed Skeletor.
No, but now I have to watch
it.
Let me find that and put it on my watch later list.
You have to watch it. It's a guy who is like a heavy set guy wearing like the old blue and purple Skeletor costume from the cartoon.
Okay.
And every day is just him being like a sad sack of shit, talking about how he got laid off and he can't find work or anything. It's really funny. But
what's it called?
Unemployed Skeletor, I think is what it's called.
There we are. Is this along the lines of Chad Vader?
Yeah, it's very much in that same vein, yeah.
All right, sweet. Let me subscribe to this guy's channel. Kevin Conn, Conn. Yeah. I gotta give. Oh man, this looks great.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
It looks great. You know what? I am just gonna leave this here, and I am gonna watch this when the show is over.
Absolutely. And we'll talk about it off the air for sure because it is excellent.
Absolutely.
All right, so you got the sorceress is having her power siphoned off. We want to kill He-Man. We sort of at one point get Skeletor's people have everybody sort of cornered, and then Gwildor decides to just punch a bunch of random buttons
to get them out of there because now there's a firefight going on. Now, before we get to this, I have to tell you one of my favorite parts of this movie.
After all this time, Grayskull is ours.
Oh! Evil Lynn is, it's like, hey, the villains are winning, that trope. And Evil Lynn goes, Finally, Lord Skeletor, Castle Grayskull is ours. No! She turns and looks at him like, what? And he goes, mine. And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And she looks like she wants to question him, but then he has that look like, what? She's like, yeah, you're right. It belongs to you.
That is a really good moment. And I was thinking, whenever we were watching this part of the movie, and essentially what's happened is that He-Man and company are there to try to save the sorceress, right? And it felt this part of the movie was about 15 or 20 minutes in, and it legit felt like the end of a movie.
It really did. It really did.
And then after this movie ended, you got a new movie, which is like a weird Masters of the Universe Go to Earth movie.
Yeah, it's like Redneck Friends.
Yeah, right.
You only have Monica and Joey.
Right, and so like we said, they get pinned down in this firefight, and Gwildor punches a bunch of buttons on the key, opens this portal, and they jump through and end up on modern day Earth.
And I think they're in... I don't even think they actually say. All they say is that she's... Now, they get to modern day Earth, and that's where we meet Julie, played by a very young Courtney Cox.
Monica Geller. Look, so we had drinking game rules for this movie, right? And one of the rules was you drink every time Monica screams. So
we're going to end up drunk like really, really soon. Now, what's crazy is that now Monica is upset because, her parents have recently died. So she's probably about 18 now. And she's looking to move from her town, leave her boyfriend Kevin, and everything. And she wants to move to New Jersey.
But now, this is like some heavy-handed exposition dump, dude. Like, they just walk to the cemetery, and she's like, I can't believe they died in the plane crash, all because I didn't go to the beach with them. Like,
it's my fault, Kevin.
Right. This scene is probably the worst writing in the whole thing.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes. And then let me ask you this. Now, in the Wikipedia, on Wikipedia it says they're from New Jersey. No, they're not from New Jersey. She's going to Jersey.
Right.
Now, a lot of people, for some reason, go to New Jersey. I've never heard of anyone going to New Jersey to start over. Who goes to New Jersey to start over? Who goes to New Jersey?
People who listen to Bon Jovi music.
I guess, but Bon Jovi even leaves New Jersey. The Statue of Liberty doesn't even face New Jersey.
Yeah,
so that
honestly,
lets you know that place sucks.
Any artist that you listen to that's worth a damn that's from New Jersey writes all about leaving, right? Springsteen.
Yeah, yes. Like, everyone who's from Jersey writes about leaving New Jersey. I mean, Bon Jovi, I'm a cowboy. On a steel horse I ride. I'm wanted. Dead or alive. He's leaving New Jersey. And even Ralph Macchio leaves New Jersey.
Everybody leaves New Jersey, but you know who can't give up on New Jersey? Monica Geller.
Yes, Monica Geller is in New Jersey. Although, you know, the part of Jersey isn't even a real place because the majority of the state is a suburb of New York City.
Right.
Okay, it's not even a real place.
Jersey's just a neighborhood.
New Jersey is just a neighborhood. What do you have? You have Tony Soprano living in the good section, and then you just have gun violence in the New Jersey Devils.
Well, don't forget Snooki and company.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, yeah. You have the Jersey Shore, where every time I watch them, I have to get a tetanus shot.
Oh, don't be like that.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know, you're right. I need an extra shot of penicillin for the clap.
There you go. That's better.
And every woman that gets in the hot tub with them not only comes out pregnant, but also with a mysterious STD.
Yes. And speaking of STDs, let's talk about the four
lizard guy.
The four dudes that Skeletor sends
to get the key.
to get the key back.
Oh my God!
That is Sawrod,
who's
Blade,
a lizard man.
yeah, Blade, who looks a lot like the Predator.
He looks like the Predator if he was like the Predator's bastard son that
No,
he had.
you know what? He looks like the Halloween costume that you got to dress up as the Predator.
Yeah, well, it's the body for the Predator, but you don't have the head, so you wear E.T.'s head.
Right.
With his over elongated frog throat.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. And then you get Blade, who
cannot follow directions.
and looks like the worst S&M character of all time. And then he's wondering why he can't fight. Dude, you're trying to wield two heavy-ass swords.
Yeah.
Two of these heavy-ass broadswords that you're trying to wield. What are you doing?
And let's talk about Beastman. Like,
poor Beastman.
I kept thinking the whole time, like, I was like, is that really his name, or is that just what they're calling him? Because it feels disrespectful.
Well, this version of Beastman is disrespectful because Beastman was Skeletor's right-hand man.
Right.
In the cartoon, excuse me. And he has control over all wild animals and is known for his brute strength. As a matter of fact, of all of Skeletor's minions, he is one of the ones that is actually able to match He-Man power for power, damn near. So Beastman is a major character, but in this movie, he's just some douche.
Yeah, he gets pissed on a lot. And not literally, but figuratively pissed on a lot.
He really does. And then he's just up there. He's practically freaking giving Skeletor a blowjob because Skeletor got mad and got rid of Sawrod. Sawrod. Right. Wow. So you read a Tolkien a Tolkien book. Well, I don't want to call him Sauron. Sawrod. Even though we're going to give Skeletor his Sauron moment at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, and then the fourth guy that rounds out the henchman.
Oh, this useless sack of crap.
Yeah, Karg, who looks like a really, really bad, like, genetically mutated poodle.
Oh my God. It's almost like, hey, we want this for Gwildor. This looks like shit. This can't be Gwildor. Make him a villain.
Yeah, and so all of these...
He kind of looks like... He kind of looks like Joan Rivers after a botched facelift.
These are the four henchmen that Evil Lynn decides are worthy of tracking down He-Man, who is the most powerful man in the universe.
Yes.
She sends Wannabe Predator, she sends S&M Blade, she sends Beastman, and she sends Karg the Poodle.
Beastman! Why don't you just call him Dayman while you're at it?
Right. So they now go to present-day Earth. And what really ensues here is just your classic fish out of water 1980s movie.
Yes. So Kevin and Julie find the key that Kevin thinks is a Japanese synthesizer because in the 80s, anything electronic that we don't understand has to be Japanese.
And a synthesizer.
And a synthesizer because it makes musical noise. So Kevin takes Julie to his high school where his band's going to play. And then he decides to leave her there while she's all miserable and possibly suicidal because her parents are dead, to go and take his little synthesizer to his buddy Charlie, who looks way too old to be friends with a high school kid. Meanwhile, these two high school kids are way too old to be high school kids.
That's true, but I thought
Kevin drives a child molester van, for God's sake.
I thought that Charlie was not his friend, so to speak, but he was the guy that worked at the pawn shop where he went and bought all of his music equipment, so they just kind of knew each other.
Yeah, that's a good point. He knows him because he regularly buys stuff from there and blah, blah, blah.
Right, and he's about to have to buy a lot more because all of his music equipment burns up.
Yeah, because now the useless foursome show up to the high school. They can't even capture Courtney Cox. These are supposed to be badass mercenaries. They can't capture Courtney Cox, but they can beat the hell of an inept freaking janitor. And
they... I just don't even know
what's happening. What's happening? So... they show up to capture her. He-Man shows up. It's 4-on-1, but he handles them. Blade goes, now when you first see Blade, and you don't know anything, you see, wow, this guy has two swords. He must be tough. He-Man breaks one of his swords. Oh, my sword! And then Courtney Cox shows up and sneaks them as well. And they run away.
Now, I kept waiting. Now, I know that Monica Geller was dating the other guy. What's his name?
Kevin.
I know Monica was dating Kevin, but I kept waiting for her and He-Man to get after it, you know?
Well, hey, he's there for her when the rain starts to fall.
I think
there was a lot of sexual tension between the two of them.
Yeah,
I wonder if Dolph Lundgren got it on with Courtney Cox.
I was thinking about that while I was watching it. I was like, oh my God. And then I was wondering which one of them has the better story. Like like at this point, if Monica Geller and Dolph Lundgren had sex on the set of Masters of the Universe, do you think that Dolph Lundgren is the one that's like, hey, I banged Courtney Cox? Or do you think that Courtney Cox is the one that's like, I banged Dolph Lundgren?
I think at this point, it's, yeah, I banged Courtney Cox once. Because Dolph Lundgren don't have nothing. If it wasn't for the Expendables, no one would even remember who he is. Except for movie purists like us.
Right. So, yeah, I think I agree with you.
Wait a second. Wait. Honey, can you look outside and make sure Dolph Lundgren's not coming over? Because he can whoop some ass. This guy's got like a 5th-degree black belt, and he's a freaking chemical engineer. He's a genius. He can bench press over 450 pounds, and he can whoop some ass. Can you please check and make sure he's not outside? Yeah, but he's stronger than me. Sharon's trying to say, well, you have a black belt too. That might be true, but I'm not whooping Dolph Lundgren's ass.
But Brian only has a black belt because it goes with his shoes.
Yeah, I only have a black belt because it goes with my shoes. Yeah, but you know what? My belt is, well, you know what? I also have black suspenders because it's easier for them to keep my pants up. But so He-Man saves Courtney Cox. He gives her the now He-Man is probably in his 30s at this point. Courtney Cox is Monica's barely 18. So it's very creepy how he's hugging her to comfort her.
Well, let's talk about, this is going to be a really weird segue or a really weird tangent.
I'm ready for it.
Do you think that time on Eternia goes the same as time on Earth? AKA, how old could He-Man possibly be?
Oh God! In Earth years, he's probably like 100, but he's a man in his prime on Earth. So we actually have the precursor to Twilight.
Yeah, right.
Monica Geller as Bella, and He-Man as Edward Cullen,
and Kevin as the werewolf guy.
Yeah, and Kevin gets to be Jacob, not Black.
Right.
Oh my God! So this is how Stephanie Meyer came up with Twilight.
Yeah, she did some
LSD. She was doing LSD and started watching Masters of the Universe. I have solved the puzzle.
Yeah, that's it. Just like somebody did LSD and watched Return of the Jedi and made this movie.
Yes.
She did LSD and watched this movie to make Twilight.
Exactly. So Teela and Man-at-Arms show up as Edward is comforting Bella, and Teela makes it a point he goes, did you have any luck? Not as much as you, I guess. It's like, dude, I just started feeling her up. I haven't hit this yet.
Right. Also, I want to take a moment for how confused our audience is going to be, because we are calling Monica, we're calling Courtney Cox's character Monica, and now Bella Swan.
Yes. Oh my God, this is going to be the show. This is going to be the make or break show. People are going to be like, "Can you stop doing this malarkey?"
Her name is Julie, right?
Her name is Julie in the movie.
Okay.
So her full name is Julie Monica Bella Swan Geller. Gustaviston.
Swan Gellerson.
Swan Gellerson. There you go. So Julie Bella Monica Swanson. I can't even do it. So she's hanging out with our Eternians, and Gwildor shows up in a pink Cadillac. that is no longer a combustible engine. He's been on Earth of all of 5 minutes, and he's completely redone our transportation.
Right, but he didn't make it fly.
No, he did.
He just made it fast.
Yeah, but it no longer needs fossil fuels to run.
There you go. Okay.
So meanwhile, at this point, the useless foursome have burned down a school damn near. Kevin sees all the cops and everything rushing there. He's like, holy crap, my girlfriend, Bella Monica Gellermison, is like there. Let me go after her. Then he runs into Principal Strickland, who is automatically hostile. We have arson, we have assault, and blah, blah, blah. Dude, I have thousands of dollars of musical equipment in here. Yeah, but somehow this is your fault because I'm the antagonistic 80s cop, and everything that kids do is bad.
Right, yeah, absolutely. That's what's going on with that guy, for sure. But at the same time, Kevin is kind of like...
Oh, by the way, where's my girlfriend?
Right, he's like, what? He's like, where's my girlfriend? And the cop's like, well, describe her. And he describes her, and then the cop's writing it down, and he's like, why aren't you doing anything? And I'm like, dude, like, he's just writing it down.
You just told me what she looks like. What else am I supposed? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me get my magic cosmic key and open up a portal. So
I guess I could start driving right now, but I would absolutely forget what Monica Bella Swanson looks like by the time I get over there.
I'm serious, because at this point, and he's talking about, he's talking like he's old, so he's getting close to retirement.
Oh, for sure.
Man,
I was one day from retirement.
Yeah. So they go to Julie's house for whatever reason.
Well, they're going to check on her, right?
They're going to see if Julie's home. Julie's obviously not home. Now, she's supposed to be leaving that night, and that house still looks like shit. That house looks like a teenager has been living there alone. You've got everything everywhere.
Well, there's a bunch of packed boxes, right? Because she's getting ready to go to Jersey.
Right, but it's like, you haven't even packed yet.
Yeah, she's just got boxes.
Yeah, you just got boxes everywhere. And then, of course, now at this point, Skeletor and them have decided that they're going to track the cosmic.
I totally forgot for like the last 15 minutes that Skeletor's in this movie.
So have I. So they're trying to track the cosmic key. Now, here's a funny point. The useless foursome run back to Skeletor, and it's like, oh man, they had boys there, right? And they just jumped us. It was almost like the scene in The Last Dragon where we have to do that movie at the end of the summer of Cusack, by the way. We have to do Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon. But it's like, so they come back. Oh man, 4 Eternians left, but they jumped us and we were overrun, so we decided to come back. Skeletor's like, yeah, no, dog, I ain't buying it. I'm killing one of your boys. And then, Skeletor almost gets his what's his fellatio from Beastman. And then Evil Lynn goes, well, it would be bad to waste them. It's like, fine, go and find my key, bitch. Well, I wasn't saying I should go. Well, you should have kept your damn mouth shut. That was almost literally word for word what happened. Right. I just leased it up a bit. So now
we can throw that scene in here if you want to hear it.
Yeah, let's do that, because I need to take a breather. This movie,
right?
This movie. Thank God we're halfway through.
You are all aware of the penalty for failure.
Give me one more chance, Lord Skeletor, and we will succeed.
I am not in the giving vein this day.
Get away! He begs your forgiveness, as do we all. We live only to serve you.
It would be a pity to waste their talents.
Save your pity for yourself if you fail. Take them and whatever troops and resources you need.
I was not suggesting that I go.
Then you should not have spoken.
Okay, so I have a question.
Okay.
This is probably a pretty technical aspect of the film that probably shouldn't be looked at too intensely, but I've been thinking about it. Because we don't get a ton of shots of Eternia in the film, like
No,
outside.
Nah, Eternia just kind of looks like the bug planets from Starship Troopers.
Yeah. So you have He-Man and his folks, He-Man and Teela Tequila and Mustache Man.
Yeah.
And then Gwildor.
MC Pornstache and Gwildor, yeah.
Yeah. And then you have Skeletor and Evil Lyn, the ineffective foursome, and then a shit ton of stormtroopers.
Where are the other Eternians?
That was my question. Does he get his army from Eternians? I guess he does, right?
Well, no. Skeletor's army is all robots. It seems like, because every time they get shot, I don't know. I don't know.
Hold on a minute.
They're
Skeletor's
robots.
army is robots?
Yeah, they're robots.
What?
That's part of the reason why He-Man, I was alluding to this earlier, that's why He-Man gets to use his sword so much more often in this movie, because most of the people that he kills with the sword, they're robots.
That's like, why everything sparks when it gets hit.
Exactly. They're not Power Rangers, they're robots.
Okay, all right. So that even further provides me with ammunition for my follow-up question.
Okay.
So he essentially has like an assembly line where he builds his army, right?
Yeah.
And then he's got Evil Lyn, the foursome, and then in Eternia it's just He-Man and the other good guys, right?
Yeah, so basically Skeletor is Palpatine during the droid clone army.
Right. Okay. But he wants to rule Eternia.
Yes.
And that's why he's going after Grayskull.
Yes.
But there are only 4 people that live there.
I know. That's why he wants to kill He-Man. He's the only one that's a real threat to him.
But if you kill He-Man, then you're down to like 3 people.
Yeah, well, honestly, I think what he wants to do, he wants to kill He-Man because he thinks He-Man is going to get into some of Teela's happy lunchbox.
Okay.
And Man-at-Arms is her dad, so he doesn't have any competition there. So, and Gwildor, ew. So, Skull Dude wants Teela, and he wants to have a threesome with Teela and Evil Lyn.
Is that canon? Because I don't...
It is in the Tan household.
That's canon.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, so it's canon.
There you go. So, okay. I
ruin everything.
There's a scene near the end of the movie, not to get too far ahead, where it looks like Skeletor is going to win, and it shows, and he's like making a speech to the Eternians, and there are 8 people there.
There's like nobody there.
He has this giant hologram that he uses to give a giant speech to 8 people.
They're just, hey, guys, God, where the hell is everyone? Well, I'm here. Doug's here. Hey, Doug, my name's Meek. I'm cool. This is Meek. That's Doug. And we're all here to listen to you, man. I tried to start a rebellion, but I didn't print out enough pamphlets. Just some blonde guys showed up and took them all.
Right. And so I was content, and especially now that you've pointed out that all of his army is robots, it's Skeletor and 5 people that he hangs out with, He-Man, the 3 people he hangs out with, and then these 8 random Eternians.
And and basically, I've already decided who the Eternians are. It's the gang from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's 4 of them. And the rest are the stand-ins for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Well, I was going to ask you if maybe they were the other friends.
Yeah, that's a good call by you. So basically, Joey, Chandler, Phoebe, and Ross are just sort of there. Rachel hasn't shown up yet because she doesn't show up until into the first episode. So this is the prequel to Friends.
Now, how about this movie is what happened? Like maybe Julie. This is maybe a Jacob's Ladder situation where Julie died on the plane with her parents. And everything that happens in the movie is just preparing her to wake up in the afterlife.
I like that idea. So it's almost like she has to go through this little trial here to make it to the good spot. I like that. Okay, I see where you're going with that. I can get with that. I got my Charlie Kelly nod of approval on there.
Yeah, right. That's my Pepe Sylvia moment, though.
Fair enough. So,
all right. Not to derail us too much there. So Skeletor killed Sawrod.
Yeah, so Skeletor kills Sawrod. Evil Lyn and the useless foursome show up. Evil Lyn throws some shade on him for getting, like, scooped up by He-Man and some, native girl. Meanwhile, Principal Strickland and Kevin
absolutely called her a native girl.
Yes, they call her native girl. It's like, I'm sorry, just because she has black hair does not make her native. She ain't Pocahontas, okay?
Right.
So, Principal Strickland is in Julie's house with Kevin, throwing him some shade. Kevin goes to heat up some ribs. Now, they're trying to track the key. Somehow, the microwave stops them from tracking because, the microwaves are so dangerous. I remember in the 80s, everyone was so afraid of microwaves because it's nuclear energy and it'll give you cancer. Yeah. And it can block otherworldly, things. So they blow up the microwave and he tries to put it out with the fire extinguisher while Principal Strickland is hitting it. So Evil Lyn and company show up after Principal Strickland leave. They put the BDSM collar on Kevin, so he tells them everything because, Evil Lyn wants to be just like Wonder Woman, but she says, who needs a lasso of truth? I can give him the dog collar of truth.
The shot collar.
Yes.
And this is just another one of those hardcore 70s and 80s sci-fi tropes of, like, some form of truth serum.
Yeah. And now here's the thing. Why don't they kill Kevin after they get the information? They just leave him there.
Yeah, also, was that collar magnetically attached to that wooden table? Like, he didn't stand up or anything.
No, and then he's just like, then he's screaming ow because they put it on. And then why does he get, like, a robotic voice?
Yeah, that was weird. It was almost like he was the dog from Up.
Yeah, I know, right? And then they go and they find, now this becomes important later, they find the news clipping to Julie's parents dying, and they're like, oh, this will be useful later. Bum, right. Bum, bum! He-Man
there's your Chekhov's gun moment.
Yeah, really. So He-Man and company show up in their pink Cadillac, and they find Kevin, they take off the collar, and Kevin's like, oh, I'm going to fight somebody, and Teela's like, I'm going to shoot your chair out of your hands.
Did you notice how huggy He-Man was being with Monica?
Oh my God, he never took his arms from around her. I'm pretty sure him and her had a little fun in the back seat because he wasn't driving, Gwildor was.
Yeah.
And they sat in the back seat. So I'm pretty sure He-Man and her were,
Yeah, his love life was not DOA.
Not even a little. Well, those blonde locks, those abs,
Dolph Lundgren, he looked like He-Man.
He really did. He looked like he could be He-Man. I mean, big dude, muscular, just couldn't act for shit.
No. And most of his lines look like they were done ADR. Like,
oh my God, yes. And I mean, the way his delivery of some of his lines, especially, I'll never kneel to you. It's like, what? Why would you say it like that? Or at the end, victory. Oh my God, Dolph, what are you doing? I'm glad he got better because wow, you should just go back to being the strongest. Why didn't the little Russian guy just show up with him and just like speak all of? You know what? Brock Lesnar has Paul Heyman to speak for him. Why doesn't Dolph Lundgren get a Paul Heyman?
You want He-Man to have a hype man that comes with him?
Yes, I want He-Man. What? Yeah, Gwildor could do it. He's the right height. Gwildor. You know what? Get rid of Billy Barty as Gwildor. Then you get Flava Flav. You put him in the Gwildor outfit.
Mean Gene.
Mean Gene Okerlund, yeah. Put him in the Gwildor outfit, and then he could be his hype man. Yeah, boy!
Oh my God.
It's my dog here!
I gotta tell you, no one that listens to this may enjoy it, but I'm enjoying the shit out of it.
Oh, this is so, yeah, you're not gonna like this movie, but you're gonna enjoy. I'm sure you're enjoying us talking shit on this movie.
I hope
Honestly,
so.
I think we're ripping this apart almost as bad, if not worse, than we did Troll 2.
Yeah, I think that this is going better than that one did, honestly.
Oh, I agree.
All right, so
they run into Kevin. Kevin's like, "Hey, I'm going to join the team." He-Man's like, "This is my broad now, dog. You can oogle Teela, but she's Mrs. Sam Beckett, so I guess you can just like snuggle Gwildor." So they go to Charlie's to get the cosmic key back because Lubick has taken it. He's gone to Charlie's because Kevin, being a snitch, so he has some stitches coming. Dane drops Charlie, so Lubick goes to him to find out what the hell this Japanese synthesizer is. So then they show up, they know a shootout is coming, so Teela takes everyone in the back, holds a gun.
Oh yeah, this is when a ton of those robot soldiers show up.
Yeah, and it's just He-Man and Man-at-Arms fighting while Teela's got a gun on a cop with these kids. And then Teela goes out to fight with her father and He-Man, leaving Kevin to keep a gun on a cop.
I want to talk a little bit, just mention really.
Okay.
Teela is so bad at holding guns.
She really is. For the daughter of the Man-at-Arms, the master of weapons of Eternia, she cannot wield a weapon.
No, she holds it like she's too dainty, man.
I'm serious. And it's
Monica
like,
Geller was better than she was.
Absolutely. Kevin, who is actually like 27 and in high school because he's too dumb to graduate, is better at holding guns and dealing with this. It's like, why didn't they put this woman through any sort of weapons training before they did this movie?
Or just give her a different weapon if she can't hold a gun. Like, let her have a staff or something.
Seriously. And you want to know
sword. Everybody else has swords.
And you want to know what's really, really bad? I'm looking at... Oh, never mind. Here he is. I was getting ready to say on Wikipedia, they don't even have the guy that played Kevin's on, like, the cast list, but they do. Now, I should say he was 23 when this movie was filmed, so he technically could probably pass as a teenager. So now that the humans are, with the key in the back room, Evil Lynn is doing her shape-shifting game, tricks Monica by pretending to be her mom because, she had the mighty newspaper clipping. The Deus Ex Machina.
Right.
The bad guy Deus Ex Machina of how they can, get their things done.
Yeah, but she knew so much more than that newspaper clipping would have had in it. We
have very important work.
she was able to essentially be Monica's mother and say things that only Monica's mother would say, even though all she read was a newspaper article about the plane going down.
Well, music. I mean, not music. Magic. When in doubt, a wizard did it. When in doubt, she's a wizard. She's a wizard, Harry.
When in doubt, a wizard did it. I mean,
yes.
I think that probably just wraps the rest of this thing up, doesn't it?
Pretty much, yeah, because at this point, you know what? So she gives the key to Evil Lynn. Everyone leaves. They try to show up. He-Man gets on a hoverboard because Back to the Future. And then Skeletor gives Monica the space herpes by shooting her in the leg.
Yeah, her leg was gross, bro.
It really was. It looked like a zombie movie on her leg.
Yeah, it was not okay.
Yeah. And so then Skeletor forces He-Man to surrender.
Were those guns shooting syphilis? Or
I'm pretty sure. Well, no, I think Skeletor's hand had the special space herpes, and he's just like, pass it on. So Skeletor threatens the lives of He-Man's friends. He-Man, being the ever gallant hero, surrenders to Skeletor. Skeletor takes the sword, the power sword, as his trophy, with He-Man as his slave, and decides to leave everyone alive because he's decided he can't kill He-Man because he makes him a martyr. So he wants to keep him as a slave. But he leaves He-Man's friends alive to bind He-Man to his word. Instead of saying, hey, you guys stay behind, kill them after we leave. He-Man won't be none the wiser. No, leave him alive. And there's no way they can make it back because I erased the memory of the key. So, all's well that ends well. I win. So, should I keep going? That's essentially what happened at that point. So now, Monica's suffering.
Have we gotten to the part where He-Man chased the robot soldiers on the flying disc?
Yeah, he was. That was the hoverboard part.
Yeah, right.
So he's hoverboarding on a disc,
and it looked like
it looked like Highlander 2. That's how bad.
I was watching it with Michelle, and she was like, "That looks like an action figure." Like
really
there were moments when like the blue screen was clearly being used, where it really did look like an action figure on a string.
It did look absolutely terrible. He looked like Cloud Kicker from frickin' Tailspin. It was horrible. So, but amazingly, like most people, when you hear a tune in your head, you can remember it.
Well, he's not much of a music maker.
No. Oh, you're a music maker. Of course, you must be a master. I knew that. Then why did you ask the question, you stupid little rule?
Yeah, and now is not the time, Mr. Perfect Pitch, to get modest about it,
Yeah, exactly. Your girlfriend's dying of the space herpes. Skeletor has kidnapped He-Man, the only guy that can help. Matter of fact, He-Man has access to the only person that can save your woman from the space herpes. And you're, I'm just a stupid kid in
here
a
it is.
band.
This is what I wanted to say. This is the bullshit. If Skeletor had kept the second key, because he was in possession of it at one point.
Yes, he was.
If he had kept the second key and then just gone back to Eternia and left He-Man there, he would have won.
Yes.
That's the moment that I was talking about at the top, right? Where he had an opportunity to win, but his tunnel vision of wanting to kill He-Man was his downfall.
If he would have just left He-Man there
and dipped out.
Yeah. And just, you know what? And if you really, really, really want a trophy that shows people that you're the man, then that's when you take He-Man's sword.
Right.
Look, I have the sword of He-Man. I've taken the second key.
Would you say in that situation, would you say that you had the power?
Oh, I would say that I've got the power. Absolutely. And I have the power. Absolutely.
Yeah. So the little ragtag group of friends, Monica with the space herp, Grindelwald, and
Mrs. Beckett, and
Mustache Man, Teela, and Kevin.
Keyvan. And then Kevin figures out that he knows the tones of the keys because we've been hearing it the whole frickin' movie. Da 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 da. So then Kevin goes and performs grand theft by stealing a keyboard because also, Gwildor, can you get this working? Well, I need a Plotaholic driver. I've got one of those conveniently on my shoulder. It's been there the whole movie. I need
bullshit.
I need I need a dilithium crystal stuck in a athletic supporter. I happen to be wearing one of those right here.
You're right.
And I need something for the tones. I'll go steal one of Charlie's keyboards. Never mind, his business is burning down around him. And he probably doesn't have alien insurance.
Right. And so what you get is like this ragtag group of friends making the worst science fair project ever in the middle of the park.
And they're telling Monica, don't worry about your space herpes. I'll be there for you. Oh, meanwhile, Lubbock's trying to go to the police department. I have been shot at, taken hostage, had a gun pulled on me. There are aliens. There is a business on fire. The same.
Well, you never mention the aliens. That's when you lose them.
True. But anyway, there are a bunch of people. They have taken me hostage, and there's a business in town burning down like the high school. Yeah, sure, Lubbock.
That's just old Lubbock.
Old Lubbock.
Classic Lubbock.
Classic Lubbock. So Lubbock shows up while they're putting together the science project. Meanwhile, while this is happening, Skeletor has his little thing with the rest of the cast of Friends and the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia gang. And then he goes on an actual pretty brilliant monologue about, tell me, He-Man, about the loneliness of good. Is it as painful as the loneliness of evil? It's like, wow, that was good.
That was good shit.
And this is like
I think they just let him go, you know? Like,
I'm serious. They're like, you know what, Frank? This movie has been camp bullshit. Give us some credit. It's like Frank Langella was like the Michael Jordan.
Help us stick the landing.
Yes. So he siphons off enough of the sorceress's power. He puts He-Man's sword into a lock, and then he goes
to Gwildor from the Power Rangers.
Yes. He goes from being the goth kid in the black robes to Gwildor from the Power Rangers. I'm pretty sure if this was I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, he would die from overgold.
Yeah, right.
So now he's got Hela from Thor Ragnarok's helmet, a staff he has Serpentor's staff, Hela from Thor Ragnarok's headgear, and he's covered head to toe in gold.
He looked like
He looked like a pimp.
Yeah.
He looked like a 70s pimp, is what he looked like. So he's getting the power.
Apparently, whenever he put all that gold on, it took all of it blew a fuse in Castle Grayskull because all the lights went out.
Well, because they also didn't pay their bill. So.
Right.
So now,
they went on an extended trip to Earth.
Right. So the shitty science fair gang, they managed to get their potato in the water, and Lubick shows up, and next thing you know, they're transported to Eternia with half of the park.
And half of the car.
Yeah, half of Lubick's car, half of the park. So now there's a rip in the fabric of space and time in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Where is the Toxic Avenger when you need him?
I gotta tell you, this movie does not understand time travel.
It does not understand time travel. It does not understand physics. I don't even think movie doesn't even know how to movie.
Movie does not know how to movie.
So now it's like game on. You know, we're going at it. And Lubick is still trying to arrest everyone.
Right. You're out of your jurisdiction, bro.
Yeah. I'm sorry, your badge don't mean shit here. Now all of a sudden, Lubick's like, well, I'm going to fight with you. And as I clock my shotgun 550 times, suddenly I can just be super accurate with a shotgun. And these guys that are obviously wearing body armor that is made to withstand laser blast are being shot by a shotgun at long range. And they're falling.
A shotgun with infinite ammunition.
Yes, because he was not reloading.
No, and he was just dropping shells all over the place.
I'm serious. So now at this point, He-Man, after being whipped by Blade because he's the BDSM master,
yeah,
He-Man is whooping ass taking names because he's in chains, and now he's trying to get his sword. And Skeletor, no! I'm hitting you with my Force Lightning. And then He-Man gets his sword, pulls it free. I have the power!
Yeah, I will play that as well. Yeah, whenever he says, I have the power, that felt like it wasn't even Dolph Lundgren.
Nah, that was some guy named Roy.
It definitely sounded like somebody different. It sounded like they lifted it from the cartoon.
I think that's what they did. But now we get an actually pretty well choreographed fight. And this is where Dolph Lundgren is actually able to act. He feeds off of Frank Langella and actually delivers some pretty decent lines, in my opinion, at this point.
Right. It's frustrating because there are moments in this movie where you feel like it's starting to get its feet underneath it.
And then it trips.
Right. And then you also realize that you're 5 minutes from the end. And it's probably a little late for that. But
yep. So they're fighting. and it's pretty cool. He-Man breaks Skeletor's staff, which doesn't make sense. If it's supposed to be the cosmic upgrade, why does it break? Well, this is also the sword that deflects blaster bolts.
Well, but he's also he's channeling the power of Grayskull.
That's a good point by you. That is, I was trying to be an ass and like shoot on it, but you're right. So he breaks the staff.
Like this is his like Megazord moment, right? Like he's called in reinforcements.
Pretty much, yeah. Now it's like, you've been getting whipped, you haven't eaten, and you've been like being tortured, but now you're all better.
Yeah.
So he breaks the staff, and Skeletor is still trying to fight, which again is nothing like the cartoon. This Skeletor is ready to throw down in battle.
Yeah.
And then, now the ending sucked. Now basically they lock swords, and He-Man has just so much power that Skeletor falls down the mine shaft, just like the Emperor
Palpatine did. Yeah, exactly. The Force lightning, the power chamber, like all of this stuff was so much like the Emperor's throne room.
Exactly. At the end of exactly. So at the end, the sorceress, who went from 972 because she had all of her powers siphoned out of her, back to being, 40. And they're like, hey, Lubick, so you're really going to stay here? Yeah, I got a castle. I'm pretty sure the sorceress owns this castle, sir. I've got a beautiful woman. Where the hell does she show up from? And how are you just claiming her as yours?
Yeah, how did Lubick just decide that he's going to be the master wiener slinger of Eternia?
I'm serious. It's like he seriously just decides, yep, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to live in this castle. And hey, you, random chick, you're mine now.
Right.
All right.
She also felt like she was kind of okay with it.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, sure, bald guy that I just met 10 minutes ago. Yeah. And everyone's like, yeah, sure, that's cool.
Everything checks out here.
Yep, this checks out. He came in here, he said this is his. All right. So this is colonial America when the Pilgrims showed up and said this was theirs. Gotcha.
Yeah, right.
Colonizer.
So then they send Monica and Kevin back to Earth.
Well, first the sorceress gives them the giant Benoit ball of Eternia, because every time you have it, Eternia is close by. By the way, when you insert it into random places of your body, it'll remind you of that time in the back seat with He-Man, because he has the power.
Yeah, and you know who doesn't have the power? Kevin.
No, he does not. Kevin is packing a cap gun, while He-Man has Lubick's shotgun of never-ending ammo.
There you go.
He-Man impregnated every woman in the room just by having no shirt on.
Yeah, and trust me when I tell you that he cocks that shotgun for all the time.
He cocks it all night long. Well, but he tries to bring it to Teela, and Teela's like, no. He's like, okay then. Because He-Man knows boundaries.
That's right. Unlike Lubbock.
Yeah, Mr. Lubrick.
Lubrick, I mean, the first syllable of his name is Lube.
Lube. Yeah, so that lets you know he's screwing somebody out of something. So Julie wakes up at home in the worst nightgown of all time. I mean, she's supposed to be a teenager, and she dresses like a grandma going to bed.
Right.
Apparently Gwildor screwed up and sent them back in time. So they've just ruined the space-time continuum by going back in time. Julie's parents are still alive, and then for some reason Julie is outside in her granny gear while Kevin is wearing the same dirty-ass clothes he wore the night before, and they show up the Benoit ball of power, and there's Dolph Lundgren in the middle. I have the power!
Okay, so here's where my biggest problem with the movie comes in. This movie sucks. The end of it is so bad, because if you send these two people back in time to before Monica's parents dying, right?
Yeah.
Then Monica should wake up in bed with Monica.
Yes, she should.
There should be two of them there, right? Because she's going back in time. There should be two of Monica and two of Kevin. And there aren't, which means somebody was murdered. But also, Like,
But what if Monica absorbed Monica?
I mean, I guess that could happen, but I think it's kind of messed up that Monica now gets to live. How much time had passed since her parents died?
Nope, a couple of months.
So she gets to live the next 2 months again with the knowledge that she has gained, right?
Yeah, so her parents were dead, but she came back. She stole the keys to their plane so they can't fly. But now here's the thing. She took their maps and shit and took their keys. If her dad is a pilot, doesn't he have a spare set of keys with the plane?
Right. Also, do you think that once they've lived those 2 months and they get to the part of their timeline where He-Man and company come to Earth, do you think another He-Man and company will come to... Are they doomed to repeat this movie over and over and over again, which could be the worst hell that I could imagine?
I think that's what truly happened. I think that Monica died in the plane crash, and see, the thing was, she wasn't as wholesome as they would have you think. See, Monica developed a crystal meth addiction at the age of 15 after going to a Gwar concert. And in her time, she used to steal her mom's things, and she really had a serious problem. And she went to rehab a ton. And you know what? I don't even feel comfortable making that analogy anymore.
Yeah,
I really don't.
That's canon, and also not canon.
Not even a little. Basically, Monica used to steal her mother's toys.
I think that...
And use them and not wash them after. No, that's not any good. You know what?
Yeah, I think
this movie.
Yeah,
Fuck
I think all you get at the end of this thing is just more questions, because she has gone back in time to before the movie started, and now she has to live that time again. And what happens when she gets back to the point when the movie started? Like,
you know what? Fuck this movie. That's what happens.
Yeah, so I think it's about that time, Brian, for us to give our ratings. So I will play the ratings bumper for everybody, so you know what's up.
The Plotaholics rating system for the movies is a pretty simple system. Basically, they rate movies based on how many shots it takes to get through them. So if you got a good movie and you get through it all the way sober, then it takes 0 shots to get through the movie. And then if you got a really bad movie, then it could take up to 5 shots to get through the whole thing. I think you can try to figure out the middle part yourself. So what can I get you?
And Brian, I will start with you. What do you rate Masters of the Universe, the 1987 classic ?
You know something? I want to give this a 5-shot rating. I truly do. But if you recall, when we did Troll 2, I said that Troll 2 was the worst movie I'd ever seen. That it made me physically, mentally, and emotionally ill. And I believe I gave it 25 shots of the green goo. Masters of the Universe, the only thing that keeps it from having, the only 2 things that keep this movie from achieving a 5-shot rating: Frank Langella's performance and the childhood nostalgia. I can still put this movie on when I have nothing else to watch, which is saying something, and I just want my brain to turn off and just say, hey, logic, you don't exist. Physics, you don't exist either. Hey, reason, see you later, buddy. And enjoy this and make fun of it. With that in mind, I give this movie a 4-shot rating.
That is absolutely fair, and that is absolutely sort of right along the lines of what I'm thinking too. I wanted to talk about one other thing before I gave my rating, real quick.
Okay.
And I have a shot poured up right now, ready to take. Okay. But I wanted to talk a little bit about about Pig Boy. I feel like any conversation about Masters of the Universe cannot ignore the plight of Pig Boy. Pig Boy in the film was played by a child. His name was Richard Sponder. Okay. And Richard Sponder won a contest that was held by Mattel for a cameo.
Oh, yes. I I forgot all about that. I entered that contest and I was so mad that I lost.
Oh my God.
I hated this kid. I hated this kid. I cursed his name for months. No lie. I cursed this kid.
So Richard Sponder won the walk-on cameo role of Pig Boy. And Pig Boy is on screen for about 2 seconds. He's there. He's holding Skeletor's staff when Skeletor returns to Eternia from Earth.
Yep.
And he just snatches the staff away from Pig Boy, and that's it. And the kid, Richard, is in so much makeup that no one can even tell that it's him. Like, it's
good. F him.
Yeah. Do you wish now that you had gotten that part, Brian? Do you think that would have gotten you into Hollywood?
I would hope so, but I'm glad Richard didn't, because F him. I still hold a grudge. We're 32 years later, and I'm still carrying a grudge. F you, Richard. That was my part to be had. That was my chance at stardom. It was mine, I tells ya. Mine!
What? So what was the contest?
But I'm not bitter.
So what was the contest?
I don't even remember.
Was it just like a mail-in form or something?
I think it was. Let me hold on. Let me see. Masters of the Universe contest to be in the 1987 film. I don't even remember, but I know that I did enter the contest. I think it was just like a sweepstakes or something that you entered in or whatever, or you wrote a God, I really wish that I could remember, but I really don't.
Honestly, I wish that it was an essay contest, and I wish that you could remember, or if you still had a copy of your essay, that'd be amazing.
Oh man, I wish I did. I really, really wish I did, because I could tell you literally all about it and then some. But I don't remember. And you know what's bad is that I'm gonna find out later.
Yeah.
We'll
update. We'll update on a future episode of Live or in an article or something. But
all you guys need to know is that I do still hold a grudge against Richard
Sponder.
Because you know what? Fuck him. He stole my dreams.
Well, you know what? When in doubt, a wizard did it.
That's right. And you know what? He doesn't have a cool podcast.
I don't actually know if that's true or not. He might. But
no, he does not. He is not taking this from me.
All right. All right. So my rating, Brian.
Yes.
In spite of Pig Boy, and in spite of Dolph, and in spite of Monica Bella Swan Gellerson, and in spite of most things, really, I'm with you in that Frank Langella saves this thing by himself. There are moments where when he's on the screen when I completely buy it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that it's not often enough, you know, and whenever he's not on screen, it feels like you're in a completely different movie.
Absolutely.
It also bothers me that it's so similar to so many other fish out of water stories from the 80s. I think like Howard the Duck was one that kept coming to mind. Like the world that
and it has a key.
The world that these stories are based on has enough source material for you to work with. You don't have, and I know that they put these characters on Earth for budgetary reasons, but it just was like it's the same movie as Howard the Duck, you know. And for that, I am with you. I give it a 4-shot rating. It is not unwatchable. It is not something that you have to be blasted to get through. It's a good time if you've got a little buzz going. And it's just, you know, it's a fever dream of Return of the Jedi meets Quantum Leap meets Howard the Duck.
Yeah, and honestly, I would probably say this is a good movie if you and your buddies are just hanging out and you want to riff track a movie.
Absolutely. It's perfect for that.
It really this is a good movie for a Friday or Saturday night. I would actually even just say a Friday. You know, you've had a long work week, You go to your friend's house that you hang out with, you and your buddies hang out at all the time. Everyone has that one friend whose house is the designated hangout spot. You order a couple pizzas, you have some soda or a couple of beers, and this is part of your bad movie night. You watch this along with The Toxic Avenger and American Ninja. And
I would say Samurai Cop would
Samurai Cop or Maniac Cop 1 and 2 or Darkman.
Maybe you just spend a whole weekend and kill yourself.
Yeah, you know what? And that's another thing too. My sad face, my Sonic face for this movie, the Sonic Face Award goes to poor Charlie. All right? Yeah. He didn't ask for this. This guy was just trying to scrape by living in a small town. A young entrepreneur and music lover who supported a young punk kid in high school in his dreams of being a musician in his crappy little band.
Yeah.
And what does he get for his trouble? He gets his livelihood, his business, and he probably lives in the apartment upstairs. So his home blown to shit in an intergalactic war that he had nothing to do with, and probably doesn't have the insurance to fix it. And you know what? Charlie probably fucking killed himself.
Probably.
And I'm borrowing that from the guys who did the Funny or Die guys from Zach Morris's Trash. And I'm actually going to start doing that from now on. In our movies, there's going to be one guy that gets the Sonic face that probably fucking killed himself due to the events of the movie. And for that, me tonight, it's Charlie.
And here's my new contribution, which is the web short spinoff that I would like to see. The web short spinoff of Masters of the Universe that I would like to see is the one where Gwildor steals the pink Cadillac and takes it to exhibit on Pimp My Ride. For him to just trick it out with crazy quantum machinery.
Ah, yes. And what you see, I have made a flux capacitor. Great Scott.
All right, hey,
Then the pink Cadillac gets stolen by some two chicks that are on a joyride, and then a whole lot of hilarity ensues.
There you go. All right, so some housekeeping here at the end as we wrap things up. This is the official last podcast before we begin the summer of Cusack.
Oh, I cannot wait. This is going to be so awesome.
So in 2 weeks, you will get your first entry into the Summer of Cusack. That will be High Fidelity.
Which I cannot wait for, because this is, to me, and this is the way I've always looked at High Fidelity, a bigger budget version of Empire Records.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I loved Empire Records, so I cannot wait to do this film. It's been a while since I've seen it, so I am so anxious to revisit this movie.
Have you ever read the book?
No, I have not.
I read it a long, long time ago, and I hope to read it again over the next week. And I watch High Fidelity once a year.
Nice.
Because it is probably my favorite movie. And I don't know how to explain that. I'm sure we can dig around in that next week. There's just something about the narrative structure of it that I really dig. And something about Cusack's character that I probably relate to. But that's for another week. But so you're going to get High Fidelity in 2 weeks. If you want the full rundown of the Summer of Cusack, you can catch that on our website, which is plotaholics.home.blog.
It will soon be plotaholics.com, but for now, it is plotaholics.home.blog.
You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter at Plotaholics. Look us up on YouTube. There's no real easy way to do that.
Just search the Plotaholics podcast on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel. Make sure you click the bell to get notified whenever we upload content. We usually do content weekly, because that includes our weekly live show, which airs on Facebook, YouTube, and what's the other?
And Periscope.
And Periscope live, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Tuesday, except for next Tuesday. Well, next Tuesday, I've got a family obligation to deal with, so we might actually either do it on Monday or
Well, honestly,
We're gonna see. We're gonna figure.
We don't
it out.
even have to talk about that because this
Okay.
podcast won't be out until after next week.
No, yeah, the next actual podcast is not gonna be for another 2 weeks because we have to make sure we behave. We kind of went over our minutes with our Boys in the Hood episode.
So just typically you can catch content from all of our output channels really almost daily at this point. We're putting out something.
Yeah, we're putting out a show. We're putting out a blog.
Yeah, the podcasts come every other week. The weekly live show airs most Tuesdays at 7 p.m. And then there's also analytical articles and editorials and things like that going up on the website. So make sure that you're following along on all of the social media channels that you have.
Absolutely. And pretty soon you're going to be able to find us on... You're going to be able to find the Plotaholics podcast on the TuneIn radio app. I got notification today that we should be available on there within the next 24 hours.
All right.
So be on the lookout for that. We're still trying to get on Pandora. And at some point, I'm actually going to figure out how to get us on Alexa as well as hopefully iHeartRadio.
Well, I got to tell you, I can't ask for us on Alexa, but I can play us on Alexa through Spotify. So.
Oh, well, that's great. Yeah, you can definitely get us on Spotify. What is it? Spotify, Stitcher, Google Music, iTunes, soon to be on TuneIn Radio.
Yeah, and just search Plotaholics and we will pop up.
Absolutely, because we're the only ones of our kind as far as with that name.
Yep, absolutely. And you can always find me on the social networks at that Shane Wilson.
And you can find me at Brian Tan Author on Twitter and Facebook, or Author Brian Tan on Instagram.
There you go. And I think that's going to about do it for us for this week.
That is about it.
The 1987 classic Masters of the Universe. For the Plotaholics, I'm Shane Wilson.
And I'm Brian Tan.
And we will talk to you again real soon.
Good night or day, whenever you're listening.
Take a trip with us to Nilbog. Just promise not to drink the goo.
Oh my God!
If you get sucked into the Matrix, we will send a phone for you.
Do you believe in fate?
Sometimes the end game is the perfect place to start.
We're in the end game now.
And other times you want to pretend the prequels were never a real thing. Let's just pod race to the end.
It's working!
Every movie has a plot hole, and every hole gets filled somehow. Whiskey, wine, or blue milk. Just don't cut me off right now. We're the Plotaholics, a breakfast club or two. We are the Plotaholics, ripping plots apart for you. Shane and Brian are an island, two real-life misfit toys, wanting to be a RoboCop.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Settling for Black Circle boys, and just like Dr. Hammond, extracting amber from wood.
And later there's running and screaming.
A little too busy asking if we could, and never asking if we should. But every movie has a plot hole, and every hole gets filled somehow with whiskey, wine, or blue milk. Just don't cut me off right now. We're the Plotaholics, a breakfast club of two. We're the Plotaholics, ripping plots apart for you.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.